Hello, my name is Derek Cross. I'm a student at Colorado State University Global Campus within the Org 515 Dynamics of Power and Organizations course, led by Dr. Cedric Alford. This presentation is an analysis of leadership influence using two real-world examples of leaders as a case study. We will begin by discussing the background of the selected leaders and their cultures. We will then analyze how each leader gains power and how they relate to their followers, before looking at how they change behaviors within their organization. Next, we will discuss how each leader motivates their followers before discussing any self-destructive tendencies that each leader has. Finally, we will apply formal leadership theory to each leader, then discuss the success of each leader and any possible improvements they could make before drawing wider conclusions about leadership and influence in the modern world. The two leaders selected as analytical examples for this presentation are Akio Toyoda and Elon Musk. Akio Toyoda is the current chairman of Toyota and its CEO from 2009 until 2023. As a note, he is the grandson of the original founder, Kiichiro Toyoda. Akio Toyoda was born in Japan, educated in both Japan and the United States, and currently lives in Japan while overseeing the Toyota brand. Toyota is in the automotive industry, operating four distinct brands: Toyota, Lexus, Daihatsu, and Hino. Toyota leads these brands from the executive level. However, Toyota is more than just an executive. He is also a test driver with the highest level racing certification in the company, and occasionally competes as a racer under the pseudonym Maritsu Kinoshita. As a result, some within Toyota refer to their chairman as Top Gun. Elon Musk is currently acting CEO of SpaceX, Tesla Motors, and the social media site X, formerly known as Twitter. Musk is also involved in Neuralink, though not in an official capacity as CEO. He was born in South Africa, educated in both Canada and the United States, and currently lives in the United States to manage his many companies. Musk is primarily involved in the aerospace, automotive, and software industries and leads his companies from the executive level. An interesting note about Musk is that an early startup he owned merged with another to create PayPal, and the sale of that company to eBay is what provided Musk the initial funding to start SpaceX. First, let's take a look at the different cultures where these leaders conduct business. Akio Toyoda operates out of Japan. Japanese business culture values total mastery of a skill to best support strategic goals of the organization. According to Yamamoto and Lloyd, it is an environment that encourages the personal development of employees to support the well-being of the collective, or something more than themselves. More specifically at Toyota, the culture is focused on a deep commitment to quality, so much so that Leiker and Ross argue that it created a model for global competitive manufacturing. The Lean Six Sigma quality methodology was created at Toyota, which involves all employees in the outcomes related to product or process quality. Additionally, Toyota chooses to focus on Kaizen, or the continuous improvement of both products and processes, instead of outright innovation. These cultural pillars have helped Toyota build a reputation for quality and reliability in the automotive industry. In contrast, Elon Musk operates out of the United States. American business culture values innovation, entrepreneurship, and risk-taking. Rodriguez writes that according to a recent WIPO report, the U.S. is the second most innovative country in the world. At Musk-owned organizations, culture is focused on innovation through disruptive technologies. Hull writes that Musk organizations have already disrupted the global auto industry and the aerospace sector, and future projects look to do the same with the telecom market. According to McDevitt, these organizations value personal tenacity and pure technical ability over a culture built on collaboration, trust, and transparency. Next, let's look at how each leader gains power or influence within their organizations. The first technique used by Akio Toyoda is establishing personal credibility. According to Taylor III, Toyoda leads by example and gets closer to the gemba, or the actual place, to see for himself where the real work is happening. He also bypassed multiple layers of management to personally take over the sagging Lexus brand during a financial slump under his tenure. The second technique is Nemawashi, a decision-making process that seeks to include input from all stakeholders to reach a consensus before acting on a decision. Wijasinya writes that this results in making decisions slowly, but implementing them quickly, and with more successful outcomes and reduced internal resistance. Finally, Toyoda has developed excellent crisis management skills. He faced a challenge immediately after assuming the CEO position, as Toyota was in the middle of a large-scale safety recall crisis. Choi and Lee write that Toyota chose to fly to the U.S. to personally testify before Congress and established a sense of personal responsibility for the quality issues and presented a detailed plan of how the issues would be addressed. His leadership through a difficult time demonstrates the influence and reputation of trust that Toyota has developed within the company. The first technique used by Elon Musk to gain power is setting the vision for the organization early on in its life cycle. Elkington et al. Write that by establishing and communicating the vision for the organization, employees have a collective meaning and sense of purpose. Musk can then act as a talent magnet and focus on drawing in highly skilled employees to execute on this vision. Next, Musk flattens the organizational structure. Schenkel and Brazil write that flatter structures can increase innovative thought and behavior. By creating a more direct line of communication with individual contributors, Musk can better preserve the integrity of his messages. Finally, like Akio Toyoda, Elon Musk also has excellent crisis management skills. According to Van Vactor, managing a crisis depends on a shared vision as well as a clear articulation of ideals and priorities. Musk's vision setting and flat organizational structures contribute to this and also create agility in the decision-making process. Additionally, Musk has demonstrated a repeated willingness to risk his personal fortune to preserve his companies and to continue to execute on their missions. Next, let's discuss how each leader relates to their followers. Akio Toyoda relates to his followers by developing a feeling of collaboration. Gemba practices keep him in regular contact with followers on the production floor, and executive leadership writes that personal attention is critical to his leadership. To his followers, Toyoda is not a faceless man in a suit, but a true leader who they see and interact with on a regular basis. Followers have a high degree of influence on Toyoda, as the cultural practice of Nemowashi ensures that their voices are heard before major decisions are made. As an additional note, Toyoda regularly asks his followers to support his dream of making Toyota more than a car maker, but a mobility company. In a recent speech to employees, Automotive News writes that Toyoda said, "I hope you'll join me on this journey because I'm counting on your talent, imagination, and passion to help me fulfill this dream." This cements Toyoda's relationship with his followers as one of authenticity, respect, and collaboration. In contrast, Elon Musk has a very different relationship with his followers. Musk demands technical excellence from his followers and has created a culture where demonstrating technical ability is the only way to survive, let alone thrive. Followers have extremely limited influence on Musk, as McDevitt writes that he constantly devalues contributions made by his staff and may even fire them for disagreeing with him or being critical of his leadership. These behaviors are only tolerated by others because of Musk's proven track record of success. As stated by a former hiring manager in an interview with Tabariti, Musk's poor treatment of his followers are largely ignored because if you mess with the recipe, you might mess with the magic. Now, let's analyze how each leader uses their influence to change behaviors within their organizations. Akio Toyoda communicates his long-term vision for the company. Greimel writes that Toyota is focused on transforming the brand from a car manufacturer into a mobility company, inspiring his followers to innovate beyond the traditional automotive manufacturing processes. Toyota also leads by example, personally practicing Gemba and other Kaizen methodologies so that employees see how valued these practices are at the highest levels of leadership. A tangible change made by Toyota is stopping the executive carousel. Previously, department heads at Toyota would periodically rotate to other departments in an attempt to develop an understanding of the organization as a whole. Toyota ended this practice, which executive leadership argues has helped each executive better develop specialized skills and knowledge in their particular leadership position, making them more effective leaders. Elon Musk also communicates his long-term vision for each of his companies, whether that is the colonization of Mars at SpaceX or sustainable energy-powered vehicles at Tesla. Musk also communicates high-pressure performance expectations. According to Ott and Holscher, Musk publicly announces organizational restructurings and high-profile employment changes. This creates an internal fear of failure, as no employee wants to be publicly shamed for failing to meet their expectations. Finally, Musk provides unfiltered feedback. He does not mince words or beat around the bush, he is direct and to the point. However, according to Mayo, Musk has admitted that his clear and frank feedback may be perceived as derision by employees. In his attempt to change behaviors for the better, Musk occasionally crosses the line into unprofessionalism. Next, let's analyze how each leader motivates their followers. The first method Akio Toyoda uses to motivate his followers is by setting inspirational objectives. The Toyota organization aspires to make more than cars, to innovate on the very concept of mobility today and into the future. Simpson writes that working in service of a higher goal can inspire deeper levels of commitment and engagement. Toyota also gives his followers ownership in decision-making processes. The practice of Nemowashi involves all stakeholders, ensuring their voices are heard and considered before a decision is made. According to Postlethwaite and Gadd, this provides a powerful incentive to engage with the process and improve the potential outcomes. The first method that Elon Musk uses to motivate his followers is also by setting inspirational objectives. The colonization of Mars, widespread adoption of electric vehicles, and the development of renewable energy sources are all lofty goals that followers want to help achieve. Change writes that these inspirational motivations have a significant link with employee engagement. Next, Musk occasionally recognizes exceptional performance. This is seldomly granted to employees, and the rarity of the event make it even more special when it finally happens. At Tesla, Kay writes that this merit-based recognition can take the form of stock options as a thank you for outstanding contributions to the organization. The final motivational tactic employed by Musk is fear. Oramus writes that employees at SpaceX, Tesla, and X are constantly measured by their output, and dips in productivity can quickly escalate into questions about how unsuitable the employee is for their role. Employees are motivated to perform at high levels to prevent this from happening. Now, let's discuss any self-destructive or otherwise negative tendencies of each leader. In the case of Akio Toyoda, he is slow to adapt to rapid change. Nemowashi is a slow process by design, as it takes considerable effort to gather input from all stakeholders before acting on a decision. O'Leary writes that during this 2009 safety recall crisis, Toyota's response drew criticism related to how long it took to act. The second negative tendency is Akio Toyoda's adherence to traditions. As the grandson of the company's founder, Toyota has a deep respect for the history of the organization and how the history of his family is intertwined. However, Zhu and Liu argue that this respect makes him potentially less innovative than others with fewer historical ties to Toyota would be. One of Elon Musk's self-destructive tendencies is his overextension across his many business ventures. He is simultaneously the CEO of 3 major companies, while also being involved in Neuralink, The Boring Company, and most recently, the US government. Musk's focus is so divided that Illiff writes that the various boards of directors of his companies need to make proactive attempts to get Musk's focus on their business instead of one of his other projects. Musk's second self-destructive tendency is his erratic mood and public outbursts. Hartmans writes that events at one company affect Musk's mood and decision-making at his other companies for several days afterwards, creating an unstable environment for his employees. These are usually accompanied by a string of posts on X or rage-filled interviews, which only exacerbate the culture of fear within his organizations. Now, let's apply leadership theory to the traits of each leader. When discussing Akio Toyoda's leadership, primary traits have included his compelling vision for the organization, his authentic practice of the values he holds for others, and the trust in his followers to master skills that benefit the organization as a collective. As such, the most apt description for Akio Toyoda is a servant leader. Boone describes a servant leader as someone who creates a climate where people strive together in search of a better future, simultaneously accomplishing tasks and building relationships, and where leaders empower others to meet their high expectations of performance. Toyota demonstrates his servant leadership through practices like Gemba and Nemawashi, as well as the personal accountability and subsequent organizational transformation that took place while he managed the safety recall crisis. While discussing Elon Musk, primary traits of his leadership include his ability to build a vision that followers can rally around, his innovative capacity and strength in challenging the status quo, and the motivation of his followers to perform at an ever higher level. As such, the best description for Elon Musk is a transformational leader. Ulandri and Subianto write that transformational leadership is characterized by developing a unique vision and fostering a sense of pride in the shared mission, intellectually stimulating followers to solve problems creatively, and cultivating a culture of excellence and accountability. All of these traits are hallmarks of Musk-owned organizations and enacted through his aspirational vision for each individual company and his demand for technical excellence in his staff. Finally, let's analyze how successful each leader is within the context of their culture, as well as any possible improvements they could make. In the case of Akio Toyoda, he is clearly successful within the context of Japanese business culture. He has preserved the legacy of his grandfather's company, taking control during a massive safety recall and global recession, and ending his service as CEO with Toyota as the first Japanese company to break 5 trillion yen in revenue. He developed an environment where employees can master a skill and have a voice in determining the direction of Toyota. To improve on his leadership, Toyota should consider being more open to innovation and risk-taking. If his dream is truly to convert Toyota into a futuristic mobility company, this shift in mentality will be greatly beneficial. When looking at Elon Musk, he is clearly successful within the context of American business culture. He has a proven track record for disruptive innovation across multiple different industries, and McNabb writes that in spite of his difficult personality, it is impossible to deny his impact on the technological future of the world. To improve on his current leadership, Musk should consider delegating more responsibilities and reducing his personal involvement within the day-to-day operations of his companies. This would allow him to continue crafting a unique, tailored vision for each company while not bogging him down with the minutiae of daily tasks. Additionally, Musk should also focus on restoring his public image and developing better communication skills. His reputation of being difficult to work with could impede achieving his goals for the future, and it would be easier to leverage his reputation as a talent magnet if the culture of fear was eliminated. Finally, let's draw some wider conclusions about leadership and influence based on our findings. First, determining success in leadership requires cultural context. Akio Toyoda and Elon Musk are both successful leaders, but their successes look very different. It is critical to understand the cultural factors in play for a leader to develop a full understanding of both their success and leadership skills. Next, developing a strong vision can be a powerful motivator. Both Toyota and Musk have clearly communicated their vision for the future, and getting buy-in from their followers makes it easier to drive greater levels of commitment and innovation, especially during challenging times. Finally, leadership theory is an incredibly useful analytical tool. It can help leaders better develop an understanding of their personal strengths and weaknesses, and Urich writes that utilizing this knowledge to create multiple bases of power will likely create more successful outcomes for leaders than those who only draw from a few sources of influence. The cited references will follow shortly. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.